That's fun.
They took my job. The robots are taking all my jobs. That was my job to count down. Damn it.
Shoot.
Your altar looks great back there.
Thank
Big
you.
fan. Big
Thank
fan.
you. We got some fun books, a little pumpkin that I keep secret things in. I got this is a dinosaur bone.
Whoa, there
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
It's older than me.
Welcome to the Happy Harvest Horror Show.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm Corrie.
And I'm still Brian, and this is the Happy Harvest Horror Show. We are back from the dead. We have risen from our earthly graves and greet you in this year of our Lord 2026 for the first time? Yeah.
Yeah, this is the
Hot
first in 2026. And I think, in general, at least for us, it feels like a special episode. It feels like maybe a revival or a renaissance, if you will. We're bringing it back. We're bringing it
horror
back.
Have you heard? It's back.
It's back, baby. It's back.
Better than ever. It's been a minute since we've been here, but we've missed you, and we've got a lot to talk about. Because while we've been gone, horror sure hasn't. This year so far, we've got 2 of the top 10 highest-grossing horror films ever made.
Crazy. Just crazy.
Sorry, top 15. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Top 15 have premiered this year, highest grossing horror films ever. And it doesn't seem like that's stopping anytime soon, and we can't wait to talk about it. But first, if you've been with us for all of these years, you know we start off with a little how spooky was your week, when really it's how spooky was the last 8 months, Corey.
How spooky has your life been in general? I mean, there's so much to talk about, but, try and keep it minimal. First off, for pagans and pagan adjacent, it is Lunasa. It is a pagan or Celtic pagan fire festival today. It marks it's essentially the first of the harvest festivals. So it marks the very, very beginning of the harvest. So any of you pagan-y, witchy people out here, very fun day to appreciate what you have. One of my favorite little rituals that I saw to celebrate Lunasa is kiss a loaf of bread as like a gratitude for the harvest kind of thing. It's also a good time for like games and like athleticism and kind of peak of energy in the summer into harvest. So happy Lunasa to all that celebrate.
Happy Lunasa. And that also means that the next one is Samhain. So this is a big one. This is the penultimate before the granddaddy of them all in my book. You'd be proud of me. A few months ago, we, at my job, as a kind of team building thing every couple weeks at our bi-weekly team meetings, everyone has to give a presentation on something about you and get to know you sort of thing. People give presentations on every little thing, their hobbies to their trips, what have you. Well, mine happened where I got picked right on Beltane. And so I did a presentation on the pagan calendar in Beltane and went into the Walpurgisnacht and the history of that and the burning of the witches. And like I was fully looked at like a crazy person. Like I'm this tech company just giving full presentations on. Make sure you get to the top mountaintops of Walpurgisnacht. Make sure you get, it was great. And did a little plug at the end of it, going, if you can't get to the bonfire for the celebration, you can buy a candle from me. And then I put a little plug in there.
Incredible work.
No one bought a candle though, so no
bummer.
celebrations were had, thanks to me. So I failed. But next year,
Yeah. On that subject and how spooky our life has been, my big thing in the past 6 months, year even, I went to Ireland for 2 weeks. It was incredible. Oh my god, it was incredible. My partner and I were literally just talking about how much we miss it. It was so great, but happened to be there for a Beltane festival that was an actual bonfire on a sacred hill. It was so cool. It was a highlight for sure. It was a very cool thing to be a part of. Ancient Celtic festival in Ireland on like ancient Celtic ground. It was wild. There's one point right before the burning, because there's this big parade and stuff that happens to lead up to the actual burning. And it was cold as shit. It was very, very windy and cold. So we were like, burn this fucking fire. And the MC, was just kind of going on and on as they were preparing. And at one point he said something. It was like, and if you have even 1% of Irish blood, this fire is for you. And I was like, damn. I lost it. I was like, yes. Yeah, it was so good.
I love it. Oh, man, I'd love to be there for a festival like that.
It was so cool. And yeah, they do all the big ones. They do a Samhain festival. There were already signs for it. It's like, we have to come back. We have to come back for Halloween.
I know. I gotta go. I gotta go back.
I think we should take a joint trip actually for Samhain. I think that would be
that would be so fun. Incredible. I would love that.
Yeah.
When I was in Ireland last, though, from the impression that I get, it feels like more of a Northern Ireland that they celebrate, Samhain, Halloween, to a bigger degree. And maybe this is just like maybe hearsay. But the last time I was there, I was there last year, 2 years ago. Man, when was that? Hot dog. What is time? But when I was there, I remember wanting to go to Meath, and I wanted to find I went to Hill of Terror. I wanted to find the mound where Samhain was practiced in the past. And the people I were asking around, like, there was no interest in anything. Gosh, they couldn't care. But from like the research I've done online, it seems like Belfast has some pretty big celebrations. So
that would be sick. We didn't make it to Northern Ireland. We definitely want to do a trip and do more of like Northern Ireland and down into like, we didn't make it to County Sligo either, so we want to do like all of that. So that would be perfect, actually. See what's going on in Belfast. What's going on? What's going on?
What are you up to? What's happening here?
For real. So yeah, that was a big, very cool, spooky time in my life. My other big thing, I am growing pumpkins. I have a pumpkin patch in my yard. I have a little pumpkin patch.
That's huge.
And it's literally one of the most important things in my life right now. I talk about my pumpkins all the time. I currently have 5 pumpkins fruiting. My biggest one is about this big right now. Still very green, but this big. So I think we're going to get some pumpkins. I'm really, really excited.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's really huge.
It's massive. It's a really big deal for me. Especially because, like, having, like, a real pumpkin patch, like an interactive pumpkin patch, fall extravaganza is, like, one of my biggest life goals. So I feel like this is, like, the start. It's my first crop of pumpkins. And eventually we'll get to the full-blown.
Then you're gonna get a patch, and then you're gonna have to, it's gonna be a thing.
It's gonna be a thing. Stick with us. I'll keep you guys updated on how it all develops. How about you? How spooky has your life been? You just did something very spooky.
What did I do? I did
last week, I think. Weren't you in Salem?
Yeah, dude. I'm keeping it spooky around here that I had to think about it, Yeah, we went to Salem. It was great. It was my first trip with a few members of my family, which was very fun. My sister and my mother and my other sister went, and we looked around. Salem is great year-round. That's what we've always said, that, like, you can get the shops, the museums, all of the little vendors year-round. And so we went in July, had a great time. I do have to report that our favorite Emporium 32 is moving.
Ooh.
They're moving across just down the street. They're getting a bigger spot, so that's exciting. But, like, I did see, and I don't want to bring some bummer into this, but there was a lot of shops it was a lot of AI art.
I knew you were gonna say it. I knew it. I knew it in my soul.
I knew
you
it.
were gonna say it. That's
And
a huge fucking bummer. Is what
that
is.
and there's no way around it. And it was because there's more shops than ever, and you can smell it a mile away. You can and like full shops will be full of it, and that's just a bummer. And people are bidding. Some of the shops are being pushed out to make way for more of those kind of things. So not great.
No, I hate that because I don't know. In my experiences there, like we've talked about Salem, and it is in certain ways a huge cash grab, and there's a million different things to buy. But at least it was a million different, like, unique things to buy a lot of the time. Like
right.
Like just mass-produced AI art, like that ain't it. That ain't it.
That ain't it. Listen, it's not.
It's just not it.
But Salem's still great. It's still one of my favorite little towns. There is, which I thought you'd find interesting, there is going to be a Warren Museum popping up there.
That is interesting.
With, what's his name? The comedian that owns a lot of that now. Gosh, I forget his name, but he's opening up like a pop-up museum there. So Annabelle's going to be there. They got signs. They're ready for Annabelle to get there. Yeah, it's interesting. It's got all the good and bad of of any sort of exploitive tourist destination, but I still love it.
It is a very cool town. Hopefully they can maintain some of what makes it great amongst the less great stuff that we're dealing with,
I agree.
Yeah.
What I did the first time, this time that I hadn't done before, was the trolley tour.
Ooh, I love a trolley tour.
Oh, it was great. We got to see the water. We got to see more of it around the town.
Amazing.
Led by a tour guide that made it clear we were here for the witch trials, he was the wrong tour guide. And I said, okay.
I'm not talking about that
I
shit.
was, though, so yeah.
I'm not going to talk about it.
But I got a lot of great Salem history, because that whole town has
it's so history. Fascinating. Like, it's got all that pirate history and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a lot more to Salem than just the witch trials.
You heard it here first.
Yep. We're the first people to say that.
That's the testimonial that we'll have. Driving into town, quote, Happy Harvest Horror Show. There's more to Salem.
I love it. Anything else spooky in your life recently that you'd like to shout out?
An exciting thing that's happened this year that would pertain to any Shudder subscriber or Tubi, because it's on Tubi now.
Fucking love Tubi.
Are all the seasons of Tales from the Crypt. And
I saw that. it's so exciting.
It's very exciting, and that's been my comfort food of just putting one of those on before bed. What a blast. And also, like, it's a... when I first started it, the first few episodes were a reminder of, like, oh, yeah, this was HBO. This was, like, I love the Crypt Keeper. I love just a horror anthology. I love getting a box of chocolates of scary tales. I love horror anthologies so much. So it's been great. And that's been taking up a lot of my time. And, there's horror movies that have come out this year that I've been a big fan of. Hokum was a huge fan of. That connects to your trip to Ireland.
Yeah,
it was right around
we
that time.
almost went and saw it in Ireland.
That would have been crazy.
We were so close. It was about midway through the trip. We were in Trolley on your recommendation, actually. We had a really cute Airbnb there. And we just hit a wall, and we just, like, we needed a day to do nothing, like, so badly. And I almost pulled it together to be like, we could go to this movie, but even that was, like, too much. So we had a day of just, like, hanging out in the Airbnb and watching Bob's Burgers because we were very, like, travel-logged.
And you need that.
You do.
You got to be in a good place to see these good movies,
Yeah,
So.
yeah. So I didn't see it in Ireland, but I did see it when I got back. Also, very much enjoyed it. Love Adam Scott.
He playing a total asshole.
Oh, yeah.
So fun.
I love it.
that director also did Oddity that we saw at Overlook. Yeah, love this director so much, and can't wait to see whatever they do next, because I feel like ties right into what I was saying with Tales from the Crypt. It feels like an EC Comics, like these stories. They're just so cozy, and not in a derogatory. They're like, I'm really like at home in these really creepy little tales. You know?
Between Hokum and Oddity, they're the ambiance, the stylization is just so good. Like, I almost don't care that much what's going on in the story because the vibe surrounding it is so impeccable, so well done.
Yeah. And speaking of vibes and impeccable setting, we'll talk about it at length a little later because it does tie into our topic today, but Widow's Bay. Watched through that whole thing so many times.
So good.
It's always fun to recommend it, and I know I really think you will love it. Non-horror fans, horror fans, it's gonna fix us.
100%. And for a show that there's been so much love for and so much kind of uproar about, a lot of people still haven't heard about it. I think maybe because it's on Apple TV, I don't know, but it's very people are either this show is amazing or what, never heard of it.
What is it? That's the only two.
Yeah,
people
that's
that
it.
love it, or people who don't know what it is.
Yeah, literally. But I love that show. We will get into that later. I love Widow's Bay so much, so much. Before we dive into things, book club shout out.
Yeah, this is our first episode in a minute, but the book club has been trucking along. We still haven't missed a month in over 5 years.
Book club has been consistent. It has been a consistently good time. We have kind of a core book club gang, but we also have several people that come and go that we also love to see. So no pressure.
Welcome.
It's a very relaxed thing, but it's really fun. It's just a really fun hangout. Once a month. I also love telling people at work, I gotta get home for book club, and then they have so many questions. They're you're in a book club? Tell me about this book club. Who are these book club people? What's the book? It's a surefire way to make yourself more interesting.
Heard it here first.
Join a book club. Maybe ours? Just saying.
It's always fun. It's fun getting these takes, and it's also, this is an exciting time too, because just this year we have 2 movie adaptations that are happening of previous book club picks. This coming this fall. Fun. We've got Victorian Psycho and Other Mommy, both based on books of one, the same title, Victorian Psycho, and the other, Incidents Around the House. Which, what a dynamite title, Incidents Around the House.
I love that.
I get it, Other Mother, it's scary.
Yeah,
but
it's got a bit more of a pull, but I agree with you. Incidents Around it's good.
So what I'm saying is, we are the tastemakers here at Happy Harvest Horror Show, and Hollywood called us, asked us what to pitch, and we thought, all right, we'll help you out a little bit. That didn't happen.
Someday, our book club will have a direct line
to Hollywood.
What gets greenlit in Hollywood?
We'll be like the scary board, just our silhouettes. You know, Hollywood's can we make this?
Yep.
Whoa, man. Book club's been great this month. We've been doing things a little different this year with the book club. We're trying new things. We read a graphic novel for the first time a couple months ago, and this month we're getting a little academic. Do you want to tell us about the book you picked for this month?
Yeah, I picked this month's book with a little help from book club members. So that's another thing. We all kind of like to chat about what we want to read as well. We were all in a folk horror vibe. I also folk horror is just where I lean anyways. And I personally have wanted to challenge myself academically a bit more, intellectually. A lot of the stuff we read is fiction and very fun, but I wanted to go more nonfiction and more philosophical. So the book I picked is Folk Horror, Hours Dreadful and Things Strange by Adam Scoville. He was interviewed a lot in the folk horror documentary Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched that we talk about a lot, which is also amazing. So he's an academic from across the pond, and he's also a short filmmaker. He's made a bunch of short films that I want to look into, but he's written a lot about folk horror. This book dives into just concepts like psychogeography and like kind of getting into the nitty gritty of why folk horror works. So I'm very excited about it.
And another update, because we're back making more content with the show, but we are also testing video out. We got to keep up with the times. No more silent film. We got to start talking. We have to. And I have to laugh because as we're recording, we got our backgrounds behind us, and I've just noticed that the last behind me is my record player and what we've been listening to, and I've just got Mr. Darcy sitting in the background.
Love
from
it.
The Pride and Prejudice soundtrack.
I love that. It shows that you contain multitudes. I mean, my little kind of background altar has a mix of things. Like I have a lot of spooky books. But also I was explaining this is just like a thrift store find of like some very majestic horses in the moonlight. It's not particularly spooky, but it's just beautiful and powerful to me, so that's why it's there.
And there it is. And there is a pumpkin. I do see a pumpkin and a dinosaur bone.
And this is a dinosaur bone. So that's exciting stuff right there. But yes, we're on YouTube. We're doing the YouTube thing again. We're reviving the YouTube. I'm very excited about getting back into the video format. Also, YouTube is... honestly, it's one of the few platforms I still have a lot of faith in. I feel like.
Well, it's the platform that, which might segue into today, is maybe driving audiences and promoting creatives in a way that is a little surprising and welcome and exciting. Which brings us to today's topic.
Yay.
I'm going to dive in. We're talking about horror, if you can believe it. We're talking about horror. But specifically, every year there's always an op-ed that's like, hey, horror is pretty big right now. And it's always big, but it is the last few years, we're seeing it show up in ways that like mainstream publications and box office and end of the year book lists can't ignore anymore. I think it's bigger, literally bigger than ever. Mm-hmm. And we thought that'd be a good way to come back to talking about it, is talking about like a State of the Union address with horror and like how man, it's a booming. Like, let's talk about it.
And that just like, I feel like we should do like a horror State of the Union. Like,
we'll have the divided chamber. Yeah, some people will stand the whole time, and
we need to pocket that idea. Like, I think that could be really fun for the future. But yeah, I mean, it's big. The resurgence in the box office, but also in terms of awards, in terms of young people's interest, I think has been respiked in a really interesting way. And all of that says something very interesting about where we are culturally right now as well. So that's what we're going to talk about. And we're going to start with the moneymakers. We're going to start by talking about the box office successes we've seen this year.
We've seen some big ones. Starting off with Obsession.
Ooh,
Have you heard of Obsession? Oh. Did you see Obsession? Not many people did. I'm kidding. It grossed well over $460 million, and on a budget of $750,000. That's money. That's like Halloween numbers,
That is
like
money.
Directed by Curry Barker, which we just already. This is a great segue from the YouTube. Cut his teeth on YouTube fame. We've made a short, Milk and Cereal, and now made his first feature film that got picked up by Focus Features, Obsession, after a bidding war at Sundance. We're going to be seeing more of him in the future, because not only did this make a ton of money, it got the attention of a lot of other film studios, including A24, just giving him the keys to the next Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. he'll be making after. He's already made one movie that's coming out next, but the next one it will be Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So, and all this news of Texas Chainsaw, I remember leading up to this was announced before most audiences saw Obsession. So there was already like a buzz, similar to what I would have compared it to, like when Ari Aster brought Hereditary, that like. No one I heard about that movie for 5 months before I finally saw it, and that was the same way with this, that like I was hearing about all this the hype was incredible while leading up to it, still hadn't seen it, heard, oh yeah, he's got the next Texas Chainsaw movie. I'm like, what? Let me see it. You know, like,
what is this guy's deal? Yeah, well, because even because the budget was $750,000, and then the bidding war to the rights to basically like get it out in theaters, like I think they put down like 15 million or something to get it out in theaters, which that's a huge jump. So obviously, like early on, some people had a lot of faith in this movie.
Over the years, A24 has been largely kind of leading the hype, you know, or like the market share of A24 horror. I mean, that was like a term, A24 horror films. But now I think they're a lot of other studios are right on their heels. I think Neon is putting out really exciting stuff. Focus Features now with Obsession. Neon had Leviticus this year. Neon doing a lot of Oz Perkins movies. So, I mean, there's all these studios now that are all coming for that slice of the pie, and it's not all for A24 anymore. Yeah. So it's exciting.
That is exciting because A24, as much as I've been a huge A24 fan for a long time, they're kind of making some shady decisions. The whole the AI thing that I was like, what the hell?
Right, they just want a seat at the table.
Yeah.
They just want a seat at the table.
Of course. But after Kane Parsons, the director of Backrooms, which is an A24 film, openly talked about how anti-AI he was, and then the next day A24 was like, we're partnering with AI. I was like, what?
Yeah, the timing was pretty wild.
It was crazy. But before we get to that, I do want to talk a bit more about Obsession. You know, the box office success of this film was pretty absurd. Like it just kept growing, but also the way in which this movie just brought a ton of people out to theaters was really impressive. And the 18 to 34 demographic made up 75% of the viewers. So we're looking at young millennials and Gen Zers were in the seats for this movie, which is very exciting. I am loving that there is this huge cinema resurgence that seems to be happening with the Gen Zers. It makes me very happy as someone who has spent a good amount of time in movie theaters over the last 5 years. You know, recently they've been a lot more packed than they had ever been.
We're talking about Obsession as the first kind of thing, but there were other films before going into this that were also started from YouTube filmmakers. I mean, we had Markiplier from YouTube fame that also directed Iron Lung earlier this year. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that I feel like for a long time, directors and creatives in the film industry would talk about making horror movies as a early way to get your movie made or get your voice out there. You'd make a horror movie and then you can get on to making real movies, is what it's been a thing for a long time. And then Marvel had its whole thing where they were plucking indie filmmakers out and giving them giant tentpole movies, and then that was propelling them. You know, you'd have creatives like Ryan Coogler, who did Fruitvale Station, and then he did Black Panther, and now he's making Sinners. He's making, he's on top of the world. Now we're in a new chapter, I feel like, of this creative discovery of finding creatives that have been doing it themselves for most of their youth, and now they're just given, all right, well, here's a check, do more, and it's very exciting. And Jane Shuburn is another one that we love with We're All Going to World's Fair, and
yes.
I saw the TV Glow. And I cannot wait to see their new film, Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma.
Yes. I'm so excited about that one.
So there's all these exciting voices that are speaking to younger audiences because they're coming from creatives that are on younger audiences, and it's very exciting. And it's interesting going back to Obsession. I know I went on this long tangent of cataloging different trends, but it's so interesting hearing Corey Barker in interviews talk about his inspirations and his influences on this movie, and he's talking about Get Out, he's talking about Hereditary, he's talking about movies that have come out in the last 10 years that makes me see some gray hairs in my head, but like holy shit, like Hereditary is now what I thought was the new guard for a while. It's now like the old guard. It's like totally. There's now a new generation of filmmakers that are leapfrogging, and it's exciting to see things keep going, but it's also looking in the mirror at the end of my life,
The years start coming and they don't stop coming.
Ain't that just the way?
Ain't that just the way? You were speaking briefly about Curry Barker's influences, and I did just want to throw this out there that Obsession was somewhat inspired by a Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episode.
Incredible.
I know, in which Bart makes a wish that kind of like fucks some shit up. So I thought that was pretty funny. Also, just like hold on, just 1 second. So I just have to share this little personal anecdote in relation to Obsession. So I was kind of late to the game. I didn't see Obsession until recently. Finally got around to watching it. I did really like it. Like, I really do think it's a very good movie. Some of the discourse surrounding it was infuriating, but like I think it's a very well done movie. I was super impressed by some of the acting, honestly. Like, some of the acting was very, very good for how low budget it was. Certain aspects of the writing also very, very good, way better than I expected. But the one little thing I wanted to bring up is finally watching the movie put a new twisted spin on this very cute relationship memento that I have.
Oh my god. That's eerie.
Isn't it eerie? Okay,
That's
so
spooky.
For those of you not on YouTube, I am literally holding up a block from one of those big Jenga games that says kiss the person to your left, which in my life has a very cute story. Like, there's a very cute tale attached to this. And my partner then stole it like for me as like a cute memento. And so it's sitting up on like a shelf in my house, and I was sitting here watching Obsession, and then that scene happened, and I literally just like looked over at it. I was like, oh my god. So now it has this new,
it's got a new meaning to it.
It's got a new twist to it. But that was a weird moment for me, for sure. But yeah, I think, is Obsession my favorite horror movie of all time? No. I do see why a lot of people liked it. I do think it's also a very good, I see why it brought a lot of people in that maybe aren't huge horror fans. I totally see why. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like in this discourse, I was also, I think in this discussion, my opinion of it doesn't matter. That's the most, it's more interesting to talk about its impact in like the box office and like the keeping horror going. And I also, I think talking about it, I think my reservations of it were I wished it did some newer things, but also don't want to like then police or be this gatekeeper of like, you should know every horror movie that came before it and improve on it. You cannot do anything that somebody has done before, that like to like to many audiences,
every bit of lineage.
Right. Like I really have to catch myself in that thinking, like, because that's my, that's where I was coming from it. But like, to a lot of audiences, this is their first monkey paw story.
Exactly.
Maybe this is their first interaction with like, the body horror agency talking. That like, and if that was the case, that you could do a lot worse than this movie for sure.
Oh, totally.
So, hats off to making small budget movies a huge hit, and that continues with Backrooms.
Yes, Backrooms.
Directed by Kane Parsons, who I really liked. Not to start these conversations with what you think about it, but I thought this one was doing something new and something exciting and capturing something that has largely lived in on YouTube and Reddit discussion boards, and has been fostered and grown from an online community, and now it achieves this perfect storm of all these different behind the scenes creators, including Blumhouse, including Atomic Monster, including James Wan and Oz Perkins, all kind of like mentoring and shepherding this movie into existence, because this online Backrooms is not unique to this movie. Backrooms has existed online for years, and it's been grown. And it's what's also neat about Backrooms is it doesn't belong really to anyone. It's an idea that everyone just kind of, you can make your own stories in there. And so it's exciting to see it get this. And what's also so exciting is this movie, directed by 19-year-old Kane Parsons.
Something like that. I don't know, like 20 maybe. Like, yeah, he's
20, 19, maybe
yeah,
19.
He's under drinking age. I think I remember being like, what? No.
Released a first-time feature in theaters, a genre feature that beat a Star Wars film at the box office. That like
incredible.
Insane. It like that's where we're at, right? And you know, so a lot of this discussion sometimes has been like a condemnation of the state of Star Wars and big budget things, but I'm like, let's focus on the win, and the win is that like the audiences want newer original stories, and
totally
very exciting.
Yeah, Backrooms, it grossed 390 million worldwide, so tremendous numbers there.
Pennies.
It's A24's highest grossing film to date. That's crazy. As I've been with A24 for a minute. That's wild. And Parsons is the youngest filmmaker to reach #1 at the U.S. box office. Projections had this movie grossing $20 million in its first week. It grossed $38.4 million on day one, the day it dropped. And it's crazy because I was there kind of unintentionally. I was going to go to Obsession that night.
That's so
I was
funny.
going to go to Obsession with a friend of mine. And then, like, I get down to the movie theater, which I live in a small mountain town, right? And I'm obsessed with my movie theater. It hasn't been updated in 20 years. Like, it's perfect. It's got the popcorn design on the carpet, the bright colors. It's like, it's stuck in time and it's perfect, and I hope they don't change a thing. Also, I'm so lucky. At my local movie theater, an evening movie is $7.50. Like, incredible. Incredible. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. But it's a small mountain town theater. I go all the time, and I'm one of 3 people in the theater. It was popping off. I, couldn't find a parking spot. There was a line out the door to get tickets. I was like, I love this. I was so excited. I was like, I have never seen this place like this. Love that the movie theaters popping off on a Friday night. This makes me really happy. And then I was also like, what's happening? And then I realized Backrooms came out that night. And then I was like, oh, shoot. I was like, let's go to Backrooms. I got 2 of the last tickets before it sold out. Theater packed. Just absolutely packed. And I was like, this is crazy. I have not experienced this in a movie theater in a long time.
For a property, I don't even want to say it's an intellectual property, because it's a creepypasta. It's like it's a scary thought experiment online, Backrooms, and to see it sell out, imagine trying to explain what Backrooms is to and then saying, oh yeah, what I just tried to explain, it grossed $390 million.
Yeah.
It made nearly 40 million opening day. It's so exciting.
Imagine explaining Backrooms to a boomer, maybe.
Yeah.
Just old enough to just be completely disconnected from.
Which, speaking of boomers and disconnected, that was a bad segue, because I don't think this largely about this creator, but it's interesting looking in the same year as we have a new Spielberg movie with Disclosure Day. That I could say the biggest criticism of that movie is it's pretty detached from the world we live in, and that maybe just saying on cable news that aliens exist won't do anything.
It won't, man.
I think that might get you a headline on the 3rd page nowadays. That it's wild how we've I'm looking at things like Spielberg, and I'm not having this conversation seeing this washed up dude Spielberg, but
this fucking guy.
This fucking guy. But it's really exciting seeing new voices come through and outperforming
Yes, love it.
titans like
Love
Spielberg,
it.
and being more in touch with what's today than yeah.
It would be incredible if that could be reflected in, I don't know, our governmental systems.
No, you're asking too much. Best we can do is 90-year-old Schrodinger's cats.
For real. But yeah, I on the whole like obsession backrooms conversation, kind of to what you were saying, I think a pretty clear delineation of these two films, and also because the discourse surrounding Backrooms also pissed me off. Like the discourse surrounding both of these movies pissed me off in a lot of ways, but I think I don't know, the internet just pisses me off a lot of the time anymore.
That's what it's there for.
Yeah. Yeah, I've just had to like put the phone down a lot more often, and I'm better for it. But Backrooms was a lot more like art house, right? Like we were going, and I think you and I are the type of people that are really going to gravitate towards that, as opposed to Obsession, which is a bit more, it's a bit more in the realm of clean narrative and like, things we've seen before. Backrooms, I think you have to be open to dealing with some abstraction. You have to be open to playing in those realms, or you're probably not gonna love it.
Well, it's interesting because I meet with a few friends every now and then here as like a little film club. We see some movies and we talk about it. And there's a couple people in the club that, when we're talking about Backrooms, that like they walked out of the theater going, I didn't really like that. But over the weeks, they were like thinking about it and reading online things and like having conversations with people. And like at the end, they're like, wait, hold up, I love that. That, like,
which I love
like,
that
there's
feeling.
Some calories in this meal, that like I've been chewing on it for a while.
You have to sit with it, like totally. I mean, my thoughts on that movie have developed so much over time. I did like it coming out of it, but I knew I needed to sit with it. Like I knew. Like I was talking to my friends I was with, and we were like kind of chewing on it, but like I could feel there was like so much there that I just needed to like sit with and think about and like mull over. And I love that feeling. I love that feeling of a work of art that like leaves me kind of up in the air or confused or not entirely sure. Some people really, really don't like that feeling. And they take it as like this piece of art was bad because it wasn't, completely clear to me. But I completely agree. Like I'm still sitting with Backrooms.
Movies are rad.
Yeah.
This is a bad segue. I was listening to Amy Poehler's podcast recently, and Ted on Will Ferrell, and at one point the segue was just like, stop that. We'll talk about this now. Like, never joking about it.
I love Amy Poehler's podcast. It's a fun one.
So good.
It's so good.
This rise in horror is not exclusive to the box office. We've also, there's the Academy Awards this year, which is our first episode, 2026. We haven't got a chance to talk about how the horror really showed up at the Oscars this year, too. But we had a record turnout.
Beautiful.
Nominations for 4 different horror films. We had Frankenstein, we had Weapons, we had Sinners, and we also had a nomination for The Ugly Stepsister. And Frankenstein got 9 nominations and 1 for Best Production Design, which, did you see it? My God.
Yeah.
5 minutes into that movie, I was like, this is going to win Best Production Design.
Yeah.
Best Costume Design, same thing. My God, Mia Goth's dresses in that movie. Best Makeup and Hairstyling. Again, you're making Frankenstein if you don't win Best Makeup.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. I think it's so telling that Frankenstein won these very aesthetic awards because it's a stunning,
gorgeous
film to feast your eyes upon. Like
to look at, it's amazing.
Visually incredible. incredible. And so I think it was like right on the money that it won those awards.
And then we had Weapons winning a much-deserved Best Supporting Award for Amy Madigan for her role as Aunt Gladys.
Amazing.
Very exciting. Very exciting, because over the years we've been like begging, you know, begging is not the right word. It's been disappointed that the Academy hasn't been, you know, recognizing the great performances in horror that go back, you know, not starting with Hereditary, but Hereditary was a big timer of like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
No nomination for
What
her.
are you saying?
What do you mean? And then for Us, for Nothing for Lupita, for Jordan Peele's Us. And so it's cool. It feels like we're turning a leaf. You know, it happened last year with The Substance, getting nominations there. Unfortunately, didn't win. Demi Moore lost to a younger, more attractive woman, which was the plot of The Substance.
Life imitating art.
Right. But we also had a huge turnout for Sinners. Sinners now becoming the most nominated film of all time with 16 nominations.
Crazy. Hold on. Like, we need to take a minute for that. Sinners, a horror film, the most nominated film of all time at the Oscars.
Love it. We love to see it.
Amazing.
It didn't take home 16. It took home Best Cinematography, Best Score, that ruled.
Perfect. So
Ripped.
good.
Best Original Screenplay, and Best Actor in Michael B. Jordan, which was so exciting.
I wanted that one so bad. I was like, yes.
So not only do we have a huge turnout, but we have two of the 4 acting categories were brought home by horror films. It does feel like a new chapter, and that's kind of the purpose of today's topic, that it's not just the Oscars recognizing it, it's the box office showing up, and it's exciting. It's really exciting.
It's so exciting. And I don't know, I am not the type, you know, like, I have issues with authority. I go back and forth on whether I really even care what the Oscars think, you know? But I do like to see them changing their attitudes towards things, especially when it's well-deserved. Like, Sinners was fucking amazing. Like, it's an incredible film. It deserved all those nominations. It deserved the wins. So watching the Oscars this year as a horror fan was really fun. Like, I had a really fun time watching, and I'm glad that they're, you know, starting to open up more to what an important medium horror can be and how expansive it can be, you know, like how much it can actually like do and explore.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's the same way. This conversation can also, it's exciting, but not in a way of like, yes, finally we matter. Like, we've always mattered.
Yeah.
We've always been. What's I think is exciting is it can't be ignored anymore. That, like, I think horror will always be its best when it's transgressive punk rock, you know, that it's looking out. It's not punching down, it's always punching up, you know, that it feels like, I don't know more to say, that it can't be ignored anymore. And not just in a, like, you know, from years ago, we had the elevated horror term with A24, which was such a backhanded compliment, you know, like, it's horror, but it's good, you know, like, hated it so much. That we have these 4 examples that showed up at the Oscars. We've just mentioned Backrooms and Obsession. We also, it's across the board. It's not like these aren't prestige drama horror that are winning. It's also things like Terrifier, like the full grindhouse gore fests that are also selling on, you know, on budgets that are pennies, and it's showing up. It's making huge numbers, and so there's also, I feel like at the end of these years, lists that I'm seeing for best of. Horror is now not regulated to one category anymore,
yes,
too. Like,
totally.
Which, again, this is cool that it's not being ignored, and that's what I keep trying to drive home, is that, like, horror is a huge genre, and there are many different flavors and appetites and styles to it, and you're going to find diehard fans of something as sinister as Terrifier and the art of the kill, and you're going to find a fan of The Ugly Stepsister, a body horror film. You're also going to find Sinners, a grand tentpole film of studio making that like it's amazing how vast it is in a way that I've never thought any other genre could do, and it's cool to see all forms of it getting success. I think
that's incredibly well put. Yeah, like it's the finally recognizing the expansiveness of it that, like, obviously horror people have known forever, right? But like, how many times have you talked to someone and they've been like, "Oh, like I don't do horror.
I don't like slasher movies."
That's one kind. That's just one kind. I am a co-host of a whole podcast dedicated to horror and spooky things. There are genres of horror I do not like. Like, it's okay. like you don't have to like every bit of it. You don't have to like every movie. You can find some of it unappealing and still recognize that there are all these other pieces of the horror puzzle, horror umbrella that could speak to you in completely different ways. And yeah, I think that is in certain ways what's happening. Like, people are maybe recognizing that there's more than one kind of scary story, like,
absolutely,
there's so much to explore there. And yeah, once again, like, I don't know, big fancy award shows, not really my vibe, but it's nice to see them giving credit where credit is due. Like, it's fun. Absolutely. It's nice to see. I did want to, on the Oscars thing, I wanted to ask you about this. This isn't horror related necessarily, but like, the big winner of that night was One Battle After Another. That was the one that kind of took, it took a lot of the awards from Sinners. Like, it won a lot. What did you think of that movie?
I love that movie. That movie was great.
I didn't dislike it. I did like it. I don't think it was better than Sinners, though. I think they got pitted against each other in a lot of conversation. And I see why. Honestly, thematically, there is a lot of similar things going on, But I just think Sinners did things in a much more, like, clever and artistic way. When I watched One Battle After Another with my partner, there was one point in the movie where he just, like, stopped and he was like, damn, this really is just one battle after another.
Aptly named.
It is. It's very aptly named. But that's how the movie felt to me. It was just like, okay, another battle. Like, that's what the whole movie felt like. Yeah. And it doesn't mean, there were a lot of things about that movie that were very wonderfully done. But I don't know. I was a little surprised that it was like the grand winner of the night.
Yeah, I went into that award season huge fan of Sinners. I love Sinners. If I picked the favorite movie that year, it probably would have been Sinners. But also, like, I would not have been disappointed if One Battle took it. I thought that movie was, like, spellbinding. Like, I thought those 3 hours went by in, like, 30 minutes. Like,
I guess I had a different experience. We literally, like, stopped the movie and almost didn't start it back up again.
Hot take.
I know. Maybe that's a hot take. I like, Sinners had me. Like, every minute of that movie had me. I don't know. Something.
You're not alone. I mean, I've talked to a few friends too that were on the similar wavelength as you, though.
Okay. And that's okay if they weren't. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, it's fine.
No, maybe we're all wrong. Who knows? This was also one of those things where, like, I was rooting for Paul Thomas Anderson to get his flowers. It's kind of insane, the work that he's put out and hasn't gotten one yet. Like,
yeah, for sure.
There Will Be Blood, Boogie Nights, Phantom Thread. I love that Phantom Thread. So yeah, I was thrilled to see that.
Yeah, that's fair. He does good shit, and it was good. Like, I am not saying it, like, there were elements of it I was like, okay, like, that was really powerful, that hit really well. But I guess, in the terms of, like, awards, you literally are putting movies up against each other, right?
You're putting an art form too up against.
So it's like,
it's all subjective,
If we're comparing them, I guess I just felt so much more excited by Sinners than that movie.
I love it. Listen, hot take. I liked Sinners a lot.
That's a hot take, dude.
Hot take. I loved it. We did a whole episode on it. Or I talk about, hey, maybe the Irish weren't,
Oh yeah, I don't know if we've talked about this, but I remember seeing there was an interview with Ryan Coogler where he talked about how part of the inspiration for Sinners was the Disney Channel original movie, The Luck of the Irish.
That's right.
Incredible.
You're absolutely right.
Incredible. That's so millennial of him.
I love being like open with like. I love artists that are like that. They're not like, oh yes, I went back to my 1956, French expressionist. No, it was Flood of the Irish. That's what
Same. It's like, let's be real here. Like, you can find inspiration anywhere. Okay. You can
find inspiration anywhere.
That's Oscars.
But the fun doesn't stop there.
It does not.
We already alluded to this earlier in the episode, but Widow's Bay.
So good.
Crushing it, not only with our hearts, but also Emmy nominations. 19 Emmy nominations.
That's crazy!
Including outstanding comedy series, outstanding directing in a comedy series, writing comedy series, lead actor in a comedy series for Matthew Rhys, supporting actor for Stephen Root, supporting actress for Kate O'Flynn and Dale Dickey, and guest actress Betty Gilpin. Which is crazy. That was a one episode.
I know. She really did kill it though. The line where they're like, they're your children, and she's like,
I have but just met them.
I have but just met them. It's so good. It's so valid.
Oh man. Guest actor with again Hamish coming in hot.
Hamish Linklater, oh, I love him, and him showing up in Widow's Bay was just like, what a dreamy moment, what a great moment. Didn't see it coming, had no idea, like was already super into the show, and then he shows up, and I was like, is that my guy from Midnight Mass?
That's the dude. That's the dude.
That's the guy, and he killed it once again, and his guest appearance is so good. He's on 2 episodes, I believe, and just so good all the way through. What an incredible character that he plays in the series. I also have a few little bits from interviews he's done since Widow's Bay that are amazing, that make me feel that not to be parasocial, but I get the vibe he's a pretty good dude, like a pretty cool dude all around.
Yeah, sure.
The one that a lot of people pulled that I saw around was, I don't want to see anybody else run a little haunted island better than me. Which, like, put that on my tombstone. Like, what an incredible line. But then I was also just, like, reading some of the interviews, and he was talking about how he got involved with Widow's Bay. And, quote, he says, "But the level of the show was so apparent that I ran towards it," said Linklater, "or I paddled towards it. One should never applaud a corporate entity, but way to go, Apple. Way to have faith in artists."
Yeah. Wild, right? It is wild how Apple has, like, of all the streaming services, feels like that one's the one's really churning out a lot of creative projects that
quality shit like
that you'll just never hear about. That's the thing. That's the biggest fault I can give Apple is just nobody. You don't talk about it.
Yeah, for real. And there's so much good stuff. I saw a TikTok recently, and it was this guy, and he's literally just pulling money out of a sack, and he's like, me to Apple TV, Widow's Bay, Severance, like, just take it. Like, because they really, like, in terms of the amount of content they have, it's a much smaller catalog than most streaming services, I would say. But, like, so much of it is so good. Like, it's really high quality. I know, like a lot of people, I think I really got on Apple TV with Ted Lasso, which is coming back next week for all the Ted Lasso fans out there, which really is just an amazing, heartwarming, lovely show. Which, we all need our feel-goods, and it's a good one. But, like, Severance, incredible.
Pluribus, that's another one.
so good. So good.
Yeah,
good
we got
sci-fi.
Sci-fi, yeah. Neuromancer is coming up soon. Yeah, it's exciting. And again, I echo one should never applaud a corporate entity like Apple.
100%.
Not blameless in the grand scheme of things, you know.
but at least they're like investing in art in like in a real way that doesn't feel hacky and weird. Like
yes. Fully agree.
I haven't had a Netflix subscription for a minute, and that's because it feels like pretty much everything they do is like hacky and weird anymore. Yeah. It's a bummer because they have like such
and
a
expensive.
big
It's like
budget.
$30 a month now.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. They have such a big budget, and they have created good things, but it has just felt like it's gone so downhill, and it's so appealing to like the lowest common denominator type stuff, and I just like don't. Like, if there's something I really want to watch on Netflix, I will get a subscription for a month. But, like, that is, like... I have subscriptions to, like, everything else. I don't have Netflix.
I wonder if this is a thing of discoverability, too. I mean, this is a constant problem in today's world of inundated with content. And, like, a lot of these streaming services and shows are now no longer... competing with like video games, it's competing with YouTube and TikTok, and like it's like there's literally not enough time in the day to do all the things that I would like to consume. You know?
Totally, I definitely know. Yeah,
you know, and then and so I think of something like Netflix. I read a stat recently, and I'm not going to get the number right, but they're saying the majority of their shows experience a huge drop with subsequent seasons.
Yeah. Yes, I saw that. I saw that too.
Like, and I can't remember. It was an enormous number that it made me go, geez. And it really made me think about thinking about other shows that like Wednesday was one that came to mind. That like I watched that right when that came out. Tim Burton, Addams Family. Are you kidding me? I was there. Watched the first season. I didn't see the two next seasons until like long after they were done, and mostly because I forgot, and then when they came back I was like, oh yeah, I did like that, you know. And that's not where you want to be with like content, you know. I
never watched the last season of Stranger Things. I have so much time went by, and it just felt like the more and more time that went by, the less and less like potent any of it felt. Yeah. And ultimately with Stranger Things, the first season's magic. Like, I do feel very strongly about that the first season of Stranger Things is incredible television. Absolutely. And they really did something so special there. And then, in my opinion, it just got a little less and less potent every single season. And then by the time the last one came around, I was like, I just don't care, I don't think, you know? Yeah.
In the past, I should have mentioned this at the top of the show, but like another spooky thing that I've been doing in addition to Tales from the Crypt is rewatching the X-Files.
Oh, yeah.
Loving X-Files, having a blast. But also marveling that there was a time within the last few decades that we were churning out 24-episode seasons, hour-long episodes.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, what a time. Why can't we do that anymore? And I'm like, who would finish it? You know, like we're getting big tentpole expensive shows like House of the Dragon right now that we've been watching, but that's like 8 episodes. We're like, oh, it's only 8. And then I'm like, I don't know. This is also like, there's no rule to my logic right here, because if there was 22 episodes of Widow's Bay, I'd be watching it all right now.
Yeah.
You know,
I was so sad that it ended, even though the ending's a banger. And I am so big on endings, like wrapping things up nicely, you know? So it's not a series ending, it's greenlit for another season. But as just a season ending, beautiful. I thought it was so
gorgeous,
well done.
right?
I love a good ending. I love an ending that is like concise and an ending, but still interesting and mysterious. Like it will make a whole show for me if the ending is good or bad. So like, yeah, did an incredible job there. But I also was like, I could watch 20 more episodes of this show.
I agree. And luckily that will happen. It got renewed, so we are going to get more of it. And we're going to get more of so many of these shows. I mean, we got Horror's Not Alone with Widow's Bay. We've also got Welcome to Derry, going to be getting a new season. We've got... Stranger Things is done, but there are spin-off shows. We've got, it's going to keep going. And I wanted to keep this conversation rolling on other areas, because we've covered the Oscars and box office for feature films. We've covered TV a little bit here, mostly with Widow's Bay, but also just while we're talking about the horror boom, want to highlight the publishing world, that like books are also a huge boost in horror novels, to the point that like I have a friend that's in publishing, and this was last year that I heard this quote, but they were like, when they're looking for new writers and ideas and pitches, they're looking for horror. They're like, don't pitch us horror, that's what's selling right now. And it's exciting to see, not only in the publishing world, but we're seeing that like it is an IV drip feed to the film world. I mean, just this year I've mentioned a few book club picks. Just book club picks are getting the fast track with Victorian Psycho and Other Mother. But Stephen King in 2025 had 5 of his stories adapted just in the year 2025. Stephen King also has 3,000 books, but you know, like he had 3 movie productions with The Running Man, The Long Walk, and The Monkey, and 2 television shows with Welcome to Derry and The Institute, all based on his properties. Frankenstein, I would count that as a book adaptation. You know, Whale Fall by Daniel Kraus. If anyone hasn't read, I loved that book. I'll go to bat for that book. I thought it's a really special read, so I'm really excited to see how that translates to the theater. But these are in a way that like really haven't seen ever. You know, that like we've been doing this book club for 5 years. We pick a lot of these books from like the trending books to kind of stay topical, and it feels like there's a crescendo right now happening in like a lot of these what are popular books now getting fast tracks to movies right away. So it's exciting, it's cool.
The flip side of that, this was actually something we were discussing in our most recent book club, and one of our book club friends and regulars, Mackie, shout out Mackie, brought up, and I think she makes such a good point, that she has gotten this feeling with a lot of contemporary horror novels that they are being written with the intention of becoming screenplays, and you can tell, like you can feel it. You can feel it. So that's you know, another element of all this is like, are you writing a book or are you writing a screenplay? Like, you know, there is a different vibe to some of these contemporary horror novels that, yeah, sometimes I will run into things that I'm like critical of in like literature format, and it's like, oh, maybe this is just meant to be or trying to be adapted to a film. And if that's the way the system is working, like you write a book to get it fast tracked to being a horror film, then that's kind of what you're going to see.
Yeah, you could also see the situations where, you know, even if it doesn't make it forward, it just needs to get out there because it's popular right now, sort of thing. And that Wet's come up in book club of more than a few times where we've gone through the book and we've picked the book based on a really exciting premise and like the hook. And then we read the book and you're like, oh, the hook was the you know,
book.
like
the hook was the book.
Much. Hook was the book. And so you're probably like, oh, I see how this got greenlit to be a published. It's enough though that like you can't, again, back to you can't ignore this genre anymore, that we're getting full indie publishing houses that are dedicated to this genre now, which is wild and crazy. Like I for many years, my barometer of like a good bookstore has always been like, what's your horror section? Do you have one? You know, that like, and it's always been, you know, and like, does your horror section have more than Stephen King? And for the longest time, that was a tough game to try to play. But now it's like, I'll go in and it'll be a full wall. Shout out to here in Brooklyn, we've got the Twisted Spine that just opened up. Fully dedicated to horror and genre, and huge store cafe. If you're in the area, absolutely stop by.
It's funny you bring that up because right before we were recording, I was reading on my couch, and I always put on like music ambiance in the background, and I wanted like a spooky one that I pull off YouTube, and the image was of a Halloween bookstore. And I literally stopped and I was like, what's a Halloween bookstore? Like, where, like I love it, but like, is that a thing? Like,
why not?
Like, Halloween bookstore.
Why couldn't it be?
I'm into it. I love it as a concept, but I was like, I'm not sure that exists, because I think finding just a horror bookstore is hard enough.
Right. Kind of like a rising tide lifts all ships situation too, because the rise in popularity and rise in horror books means we get more horror books, which means we get more books, which means we get more readers, and we get. Hopefully we can turn the ship.
We can stay above this literacy crisis.
We can stay above. Hopefully
keep ourselves above the water.
Right. Yeah, and I'm just touching skimming the surface on really all of these. You could have like full box office and numbers, breakdowns, reports that all go deeper into what we're saying. Of looking at earnings reports, line goes up. That's it's happening across the board, and it's exciting to see it recognized in such a way. And I thought this would be an interesting time too in the show to talk about how this isn't really the first time we've had spikes in this. This goes, I mean, you can really draw origins to the horror film. Calling it horror film can be traced back to 1931's Dracula, but before that, you're going to get German Expressionism film, Fritz Lang, and films like Nosferatu and The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which were all made in a style that really that put inner emotions as a higher importance in the storytelling than like replicating reality, right? So then you're going to get sets and contrasts and like very hyper expressive storytelling in a way that kind of paved the way for the earliest forms of film, and then it would turn into horror genre. And that at the time was a lot of the stories that I'm talking about here with horror and expressionism eventually would turn into horror and film noir. They were darker stories, and audiences really gravitated towards them at that time, which is interesting because right around that time was the First World War, and reading a lot about how audiences reacted to stories in Europe, and that during hard times, they would see a mirror in harder stories, and things like Charlie Chaplin weren't really,
weren't
really hitting because there wasn't much to laugh at, but there was a lot to be scared of, and so, and I think that is a clue right then of why today, more than ever, like we're inundated every day on my, any of the social media apps with nonstop bad news. It's just all bad news. It's mostly bad news. And so like when you're going to the movie and seeing things, it's, I no wonder that horror is the one that you're like, well, and that seems actually closest to what I'm feeling right 100%. Over there.
100%. And that has always been too. I get into conversations with people about my attachment to horror a lot, actually, because I don't know, I think people maybe expect me to be a little more like super positive all the time. Like, I don't know, maybe it's my Leo rising. I just have like a very warm, sunny demeanor that a lot of people like get when they meet me before they actually like know me. So like sometimes the fact that I'm like super into horror, some people like are like, oh, they don't watch horror movies because like they're inviting in this bad energy and like stuff like that. I've gotten into so many conversations like this, and I always try to in a considerate way, in an understanding way, explain that like at least for me, and I think this is true for many, 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 many people, it's not about inviting in negative energy. It's about processing the reality that like not everything is perfect all the time, right? Like processing harder emotions, processing the pain of your human existence it's a very necessary thing to do, and for me, horror is a great tool to do it. I'm also someone who has had lifelong anxiety, and some people are like, horror movies make me so anxious. They comfort me because they allow me a very safe space to feel and process the anxiety, right? I'm watching something happen in the safety of my own home, and I can feel it and let it move through my body and work with it, right? So it's a processing and a way to actually like work with all the darkness in the world, as opposed to just pretending it's not there. So like I think you're completely correct. Like these horror spikes tend to happen in really difficult times in human history. And I think it's intentional for a lot of us. I think it's like we need to work through the actual reality of what's happening, but the subconscious and emotions are weird, and art can help us do that.
Yeah.
And horror is an art form that allows us to work through the darkness that's all around us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, horror's always been a reflection of, like, art imitates life, life imitates art, you know?
Yeah.
And it's interesting that I earlier spoke to how exciting it is that horror is not just being recognized, but it's being widely recognized for all the different, you know, great things that it does, the stories it can tell. But also in today's problems are so wide. Like which battlefront do I talk about? Do I talk about you know?
It's just one battle after another,
one
man.
battle after another, right? And so it's no wonder then that our stories of anxiety are also varied. Like, do I want a story about the autonomous, you know, future that's will render us all obsolete, maybe, you know, or do I want to talk about the wage disparity? You want to talk about the human rights violations and like the, you know, representatives that don't speak for us. You know, it's like I literally every day these are the conversations, that realities that we're faced with. So it's funny that you mentioned that earlier about finding a way to like channel these kind of feelings in through it. I remember seeing this meme recently. It's the butterfly kind of anime guy that is like, is this, and they're talking about horror movies, and he's like, is this nervous system regulation?
Yes. I think I might have reposted that actually, because that's
100%.
I mean, yeah, like I think it's an, you know, I mean, I'm always team art. I think art is like the most beautiful human thing ever. It's how we explore every bit of our depth and our expansion, and that includes all the dark stuff. So like art meets horror, like that's like my favorite space to be in, because I think it's deeply transformative. It's to me engaging in horror media and using that to process things. It's the opposite of toxic positivity, right? It's the opposite of shutting off and just not actually processing the world around me. Like it's a way that I can like move forward, right? Because at the end of the day, it's all movement. We need to like move. The worst thing you can do is just shut yourself down. And this like horror and spooky things and examination of the darker sides of things is movement through it. It doesn't mean I think murder is good, you know? Like
there is some media literacy that is needed, a little bit of which is interesting because that's another moment in little film history with the Hays Code that I know you're familiar with, but this period late into the 30s that it was introduced, the Hays Code, which was named after William H. Hays, who was the president of the Motion Picture Producers and Distributors of America. And basically what the code did was it spelled out the do's and don'ts, the censorship, really, of films that you could have. You know, you couldn't have drugs, couldn't have profanity, couldn't have sex. You know, if you see films during this block of time, it's where when two characters are about to procreate, they'll leave the screen. You know, or the camera will pan over to a lamp. You know, like these were tools to get around the Hays Code at the time. The Hays Code went until 1968 when it kind of started to fizzle out, but in the 60s, things that were starting to push away from it are the emergence of some horror movies, right? We had Psycho, we had Night of the Living Dead, we had Black Sunday. These are films that were getting popularity, and the Hays Code was dissolved. Not saying because of those movies, but I think it was just it's a different time, and so it was a different I guess not censorship, but labeling system that they needed. And so that gave way to the MPAA, the rating system that we have today that was formed around that time. Since the Hays Code went away, we get this boom in slashers. Slashers came out. That was, we got, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, we got Halloween, we got Black Christmas. That went well into the 80s. And what it did was it was almost like a celebration of the things that they couldn't do for the last 50 years.
Yeah. Love that.
Like, yeah. Oh my God, we're going to have sex, drugs, and violence. Are you kidding me? We're going to have all three and lots of it, And that maybe they had a little bit too much fun because for a long time it was hard to get people to say they like horror movies because that was what was popular for so long. But that what we're talking this episode is popularity and trying to pinpoint how and why. I think that one's an easy one to pinpoint, that like perfect storm of we've got a censorship board that is no longer has a firm thumb on what you can and can't do, mixed with some culture anxieties of Vietnam War and a lot of civil rights movements. Cause and effect equal a lot of art that is telling scary stories. And I think that fast forward to today, horror's never gone away, but it's had dips.
Totally.
And perceptive quality for the general opinion of the genre. It's no longer just cool to like horror. It's like now like the baseline. You have to do horror.
Yeah.
So.
I think it says something really interesting to this current horror boom, especially our big two like box office smashes that really resonated with younger audiences. It's interesting because I simultaneously see, some issues in media literacy. I have seen people make comments about, like, are we just returning to the Hays Code? Like, the way a lot of younger people are having a hard time with media that depicts anything that they disagree with,
Yeah.
So that's, like, one aspect of it. And yet, it's very clear that the horror genre resonates deeply with younger people at the same time, which, I think we could go on and on about all the reasons that is, and it's cultural and connected to the environment in which teenagers and young 20-somethings were brought up in.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an interesting, like, it's like an all or nothing mentality almost. I feel like we're at a time frame where horror is clearly very important. It's resonating with these younger audiences in a way that I think is really powerful and necessary. And then there is this pushback by that same age group that's like, this is bad, in a very like extreme way. That's like, it's just an interesting push and pull.
Yeah,
I guess.
It is strange, and it's. Yeah, I don't know how too much into this that I want to go without being like, those kids.
Yeah, literally. I know. At this point, I've just accepted I have, like, angry grandpa energy sometimes. Yeah. And that's just where we are. That's just, like, how life rolls.
I always laugh at that. There's a lot of different version of this, but, like, that bell curve kind of chart of like of knowledge that sometimes it's like it starts off with like I hate this, and then the curve goes up in the middle. It's like, well, no, it's more nuanced than that, and at the end you're like, no, I hate this.
Yes.
That's what it kind of feels like. A lot of
I don't know. I've had a lot of moments lately where I'm like, these goddamn kids. That's part of the puzzle too. Like, I am self-aware enough to know that I just am at that point in my life.
You're at the get off my lawn part.
Literally, aging is just all, it's all a rite of passage. And we all, there was a time when I was a 22-year-old and someone 20 years older than me thought I was an idiot. Like, that, that had to have happened, With these kids, like, I go back and forth because there are times where I'm like, I couldn't have been like this when I was young, and then there are times where I'm like, maybe I was, like,
Dude, I was so dumb.
Yeah, it was so long ago. Like, I don't know. Like, everyone deserves to be 21 and just be 21. So, like, like, everyone deserves that. And
hey, and a bone out to a lot of throwing a bone out to a lot of the younger, because they didn't have. I was okay to be 21. They were locked down. You know.
Totally. No,
they had to live through a global pandemic. You know.
I think about that
during
a
the
lot.
Wild.
Like, I think about my own pandemic experience and how, you know, really it really was traumatizing and led to, you know, it's something we're all still unraveling, you know, like
Yeah.
we still don't know how it really affected us, but it definitely affected us all. And I think it hit me at a lot better time than it hit a lot of people, you know, like when I look at my life in the grand scheme of things, I'm like, if I had to pick a time, that was probably the best time for it to hit me.
That was a pretty good time to be.
It really
unemployed,
was.
you know?
I was like, I remember I was burnt out as shit. I was like super tired. Like all I wanted was to hang out at home all day. Like there were a lot of positives to like lockdown for me.
Yeah.
And then it got kind of complicated and bad for my mental health, as it did a lot of people. But like all things considered, I had finished grad school. Like I had all the college experiences. When I think about these kids that missed out on college because of the pandemic, like it breaks my heart.
Or any stretch of time while in school.
Yeah.
You know, like
High school.
you know, that those were. I mean, they are literal growing periods of your life. As where
They're
things are being
huge.
formed. And to get robbed, you know, that in any
That's
chapter of that
awful.
is
Awful.
it is awful. So yeah, I want to like, not be too much like you fucking kids.
Yeah.
Because like, fuck that really would blow.
And like I said, I take full responsibility that I'm sometimes just being a grandpa. Like I'm unk. It's fine. Like it's fine. It's fine. You know, like I'm not trying to like be hip with the kids. Like it's okay.
They didn't get to party rock in the house tonight.
I know, and we did, and it was fun.
It was fun. Yeah.
It was
Maybe
fun.
not the time or place, but it was fun. Sorry. It might be cringe looking at, but I'm sorry.
But we had a
was,
good time, man,
it was
and
pretty fun.
I'm so grateful that we had that good time. And I guess my only thing, that I would give to that demographic that maybe missed it is like, let's bring it back. You're still young. You're still in your 20s. You still have time to party rock in the house tonight.
Still do it.
Get
and
out
they
there.
are, dude. Bringing it back to horror. Like
Get
you guys,
it.
they're leading the charge. I mean,
Get out there.
and it's exciting. We've talked about the big winners this year so far of Backrooms and Obsession, but no, those are just the top performers. You know, the box office. We still have a wave of all these different YouTube generation younger filmmakers that are coming through, and thanks to a lot of different platforms like Shudder or like film festivals that are getting more popularity. Like We Love Overlook Film Festival. It's exciting to see that so many of those films that hit those and get a fast track to wide release. It's also so exciting taking a step back just from movies, just to the culture of horror right now, to see like the popularity of just horror. For the longest time was, for the large part of the population that weren't diehard horror fans, regulated to a seasonal enjoyment. It was, it's Halloween, okay, yeah, let's put on a scary movie. Now it's over. I think what was the stat that I brought up? That nearly 72% of streaming subscribers today watch horror films or series during seasonal events, but 58 continue viewing horror content throughout the year.
That's over half, baby.
That's from 72 to 58. That's not that big of a drop. That are just keeping watching it.
Yeah.
You know? That it's no longer just like it's a Disney Channel original Halloween movie. Which
it's also
telling.
It's also like Obsession and Backrooms, are big box office successes, were spring drops. Like,
that's right.
Like not a notoriously spooky time at all.
No. I mean, yeah, the last few, I'm not speaking to Scream 7, even though that did make a lot of money, but to Scream 5 and 6, those were both like, I think January releases, and a whole bunch of money, And it's exciting to see that translate into the real world too. People are showing up for conventions, they're showing up for cons. The con that I have the biggest relationship to, because it's here in New York, is New York Comic Con. And every year they send out the surveys and like, what do you want to see more of? And it's always like the top thing is like horror. I want more horror panels. Like a couple of years ago, John Carpenter was a headlining name there. It's huge. And it also helps that New York Comic Con every year is in October, so it's like that kind of that it's taking fully advantage of it. In fact, the theme of Comic-Con last year was Halloween. Like, it was just like that was the full theme of the con.
I love that.
The second biggest con in the country is
that's low key
horror,
kind of like Halloween bookstore. Halloween Comic Con.
That's probably what it is. That's probably what it was. But that's one festival. We've got Midsummer Scream in Southern California that keeps getting bigger. We went. I went for the first time a few years ago, and then we went. Was it last year?
It was last summer. It was last August. It was
that's crazy.
This time last year.
We're gonna miss it this year, but it keeps getting bigger.
It was crazy. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, this is nuts. Like it
Wild.
was massive crowds for everything, and it was so exciting too. I was like, wow, like people love this stuff. Like it was a very cool thing to get to be a part of. I'm very, very grateful to Midsummer Scream for giving us the media passes. That was pretty cool.
Very cool.
That was very, very cool
to get through it. Yeah, and the first time I went a few years ago, because I think the entire trip I must have been really annoying because I was like, my God, last time, but like it was I thought big at the time, and didn't have a full booth from Paramount Scares. It didn't have a full booth from Universal Studio Monsters. Just like a whole not Halloween Horror Nights, Universal Studio,
Yeah.
And it's a full festival dedicated to Halloween in August. It's exciting, and that I already name dropped Halloween Horror Nights, but that gets bigger every year too. We've been getting fast passes for years, but now it feels like a necessity now. You have to if you want to do everything
stuff,
one night because the crowds are insane. The lines are enormous. Like, I think you could wait 3 hours in line for one Stranger Things maze. It's the numbers are crazy.
But it's so cool too, because we've talked about this many times, but like horror fans are just some of the coolest, best people, and like Midsummer Scream, I just like ran into so many just like nice, interesting people, and like it's just they're really cool spaces where you get to not only just be a huge nerd and like share your love for something, but be able to do it in whatever way you want to. There isn't like a dress code or anything. It's like just like be yourself and have a spooky fun time. And I think every interaction I had with a stranger at Midsummer Scream was like positive. I was like, you guys are all so cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool seeing this across the board. It's cool seeing it get the flowers that I think it's always deserved. And
totally.
Here's to hoping we continue to see more original stories, because hopefully that is the lessons being learned. Probably won't be the lessons being learned, but we'll see. I saw that there is a Hollywood bidding, after Backrooms, they're like, we need more internet creepypastas. We're like, that's not what that's not quite what was why this worked, but obsession, like we need more monkey paw stories. Like, no, that's not what we were looking for. Yeah, but it feels cool to be talking about this again. Of course, it feels cool to be back chatting about spooky
feels
stuff.
Great. This is exciting. I was so excited, like leading up to recording this episode. I was like buzzing.
Dude.
I was buzzing,
buzzing,
and I'm still buzzing. But I'm happy to be back, both podcast and YouTube. This is going to be on YouTube
for all the world to see.
Yeah, I'm excited to be back. I think this was a great first episode to highlight the general excitement surrounding horror. And yeah, we got a lot more ideas for y'all coming up soon.
Yeah, as we go into this Halloween season.
Yeah.
Here in August.
Also, I feel like it's also aligned, because like a lot of people start to get very excited about Halloween at the beginning of August, which, people are split on that. August is kind of early, which I respect.
It's preseason.
I'm gradual. Like, I haven't put up all the Halloween decorations yet. I like to bring them out little by little through August, right? Like, we're gradually... But I did get my first pumpkin spice coffee creamer of the season. Like,
are they already in stores? That's crazy.
yeah, they are. Yeah. So
I have to tell a little story about Salem last weekend because we were at a bar, the pub right there in the corner of Essex Street, and I asked the bartender, "Is it too early for pumpkin?" And she said, "You've ruined my day." And yes.
That's a great answer. As a bartender, that's good.
I didn't, like, I only asked because I was in which city.
Yeah, that's fair. That's so fair.
It's kept me up all week, so.
I think it's fine. You're good.
Standing in the shower going, why?
Why?
But
No,
I know they
I
have
did.
it.
I got some pumpkin spice creamer this week. Every morning my coffee has been pumpkin spice, so it's happening. I think August is a time to gradually bring it in because you don't want to burn yourself out too early. Like
I say every year.
We have burnt ourselves out though. We have 100.
I do it every year.
I know. I was gonna say.
And I go, where have you all been?
We have 100% had Halloweens where, like, we were both too tired to do anything because we had, like, done so much Halloween shit.
Halloween is the night where I stay inside and watch Trick or Treat.
But, anyways, back to what I was saying. I feel like this episode is perfect timing because we just moved into August, which is when people start to get really hyped for the Halloween season. Also, the pagan festival that I was talking about earlier is the time of like moving towards Samhain, basically. So I feel like recording on the day of this festival is very fitting, and I'm just excited. This feels like an exciting new bloom in our harvest.
New bloom. Happy harvest.
Happy harvest, new bloom.
We'll have more to chat about in the coming weeks. The horror's not going anywhere. It looks like it's going to be a fun Halloween season. We've got some fun horror movies yet to come this year I'm excited for. And yeah, stay tuned for some more episodes as we continue to examine and celebrate our favorite genre, horror.
Horror, spooky time, Halloween culture. Maybe we should open the Halloween bookstore. Maybe that's what this is all.
This is what all I've been leading to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna open the Halloween bookstore. But yeah, this was super fun. Happy to be back. Happy to chat some of our favorite things. And yeah, if you enjoy it, share, like, subscribe. You know how this stuff works. You get it.
We'll see you next time for our next topic. In the meantime, check out our book club. Check out our Instagrams, Happy Harvest Horror Show. And now on YouTube, Happy Harvest Horror Show. So let's go. Let's rock. Happy Lunessa. And stay spooky out there.